About to see something that has never been done before. Mike Seipel, a water ski wonder, is going to add a dangerous new dimension to an already demanding sport. It begins on a bridge, and Mike will be barefoot. Mike Seipel is about to take an incredible risk. 32 feet below is the Milwaukee River. In moments, Mike will be pulled off the Highland Drive Bridge by this 400 horsepower speedboat. At only 20, he's the national barefoot water skiing champion and is always hungry for a new challenge. The tow line is carefully checked. Careful preparation is crucial if he's to succeed. The boat's just about in position now. Mike's timing and concentration must be perfect. One slip could mean serious injury. Mike's never done this before. It's the most daring stunt he's ever attempted. He's ready. He's off. The boat is accelerated to 45 miles an hour. He's on his feet. He's skiing barefoot. He did it! That's incredible! Hi, I'm John Davidson with much more that's incredible. Tonight, you'll see an extraordinary new form of sports training. It uses pictures, music, and colors, and has saved the careers of many professional athletes.
I'm Fran Tarkenton. If those stories scare you, be prepared. This hallway may look empty, but it isn't. We've got pictures to prove it.
I'm Kathy Lee Crosby. You'll also see an amazing robot on a mission too dangerous for human beings. It will perform a dramatic rescue.
If you think parallel parking is tough, take a look at perpendicular parking. You'll see a Texas daredevil risk his life in a fiery four-car collision.
And we'll meet Cookie, a 25-pound dog who was born to live life in the fast lane.
This is Alicia Witt. She's only 5 years old, but take my word for it, she's incredible.
All this and a lot more
on tonight's special edition of
That's Incredible. To another special edition of That's Incredible.
Tonight, some encore presentations of stories we've shown you before.
Plus some new stories that you've never seen.
We begin with a visit to a 5-year-old girl that many of you have asked to see again.
Her name is Alicia Witt, and her capacity for intelligence is so great that it can't be measured.
To rock my mind and blind books expired.
She began reading before she was even a year old.
While I abide and on the zealous pilgrimage to thee, and keep my drooping eyelids open wide, looking on darkness which the blind see, which like a jewel hung in ghastly night.
When Alicia was about 3 weeks old, she was beginning to imitate sounds. I remember one evening I was telling her a story in her crib. During the story, she was supplying part of the words. You could distinguish what she was saying. Alicia began to read probably about 6.5, 7 months. One day, in her play yard, she stood up and pointed to a map and read the word south. After that, she just picked up one word after another.
I recall when she was 8 months old, and we had her outside, and I was carrying her over my shoulder. She saw the temperature on a digital thermometer outside, and she was pointing to the thermometer and saying 66.
Before she was 2 years old, she was reading the newspaper and books, not children's books, but regular books like the Waltons, Little House on the Prairie, and books like that.
Alicia doesn't just read words. She has an incredible comprehension of their meaning and of abstract ideas.
It means that even though I'm lying in bed with my light off. I'm taking a journey. I'm taking a trip to where the other person, to where the person I'm in love with is.
For a while, it was sort of frustrating because if I went out into the public and I were to tell anybody what my daughter was doing, they would look at me in sort of disbelief. We first went to Dr. Helfenbein with an educational psychologist. We went for the purpose of having her tested and having a documented proof of where Alicia was at.
I'm interested now in looking at the process, how she learns, how she puts ideas and thoughts together. Of what depth are these ideas?
In a house, is that right?
So what kind of an arrow would you put here? Equal to or not equal to?
Not equal to.
Okay, very good. What kind of a sun is it?
A non-equal.
That's right, it's a non-equal, it's a non-sun. Let's go on to the next one. What about a sun together with an apple? What does that equal?
A sun and an apple.
And what about an apple together with a sun?
It's the same thing.
In every other way, Alicia lives a perfectly normal life. Her superactive mind never resists a good night's sleep, and Alicia has a deep affection for her 1-year-old brother, Ian. Ian is showing signs of being gifted, too.
Alicia will remain at home. I will continue educating Alicia myself. Hopefully it will remain as much fun as it has been, and it will just be a natural part of living. I don't see any problems in Alicia's life at all, except, financial difficulties in providing, education, things of that nature. That's the only thing that could hold us back from doing all the things we want to do. Otherwise, I see no problems at all because of her personality, her interest in life, the way she goes about doing things.
And what makes you think you can be the first woman president?
I don't know, because I'm smart and I can tell everybody the truth.
I'd like you to meet Alicia Witt. Now, Alicia, I understand that you can recite the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet. Can you do that? You know it by heart? Well, would you like to do it with your favorite movie star?
John Davis?
Yeah,
Alicia, could I do it with you?
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I certainly enjoy that piece of film. Could I do that? Kathy Lee, would you mind if we did that?
I think I should leave you two alone.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Kathy
See you
Lee.
later, Alicia.
Alicia, let's pretend like it's the balcony, okay? I'll get down here behind this thing. Can you stand up on there? Can I help you up? Stand right up on there, honey. So you like it. It's like you're on the balcony. Oh, stand right up there. Now you're like up on the balcony. Okay. Just think of me as Romeo. Lots of people do. You can just see, okay? I'll be down here. Turn a little bit out there so they can see you. Does Romeo give Juliet a rose in this scene? No? Okay. Okay. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to the night, being o'er my head, as is a winged messenger of heaven.
Oh, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, thou not a Montague. What's Montague? Is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor other part belonging to man. Oh, be some other name. What's the name? That which we call a rose, by any other name would smell sweet. So Romeo would, were not Romeo called, we cannot deal perfection which he is without that title. Romeo doth thy name, and for thy name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
Several weeks ago, we introduced you to ESR, the Emergency Services Robot. The first experimental models of ESR have only recently come out. Each robot is 6 feet tall, weighs almost 1,000 pounds, and can move at more than 25 miles an hour. They were designed and built to perform the sometimes dangerous jobs that people often have to do. Jobs like patrolling and guarding a factory, or entering a hazardous environment. When last seen in action, ESR was in hot pursuit of an intruder. The unwanted visitor was quickly captured.
Then ESR came into the studio and showed us how a robot makes a dramatic entrance.
Well, now there's more to the story of ESR, and it's the most exciting adventure to date.
A good robot never rests and is always on the job. It's ready for nearly anything, including a sudden electrical fire.
Job for ESR.
Yeah, 31, we've got a major electrical fire. Yeah, looks like we're going to need at least 3 engine companies, and we've got a roll of paramedics.
An injured worker is helpless, and there's no way to safely get near him, unless, of course, you're a robot.
ESR is guided by remote control and is designed to tolerate super high temperatures.
His arm and hand can be precisely guided to perform the dangerous jobs that would threaten human life.
He's also armed with a fire extinguisher that can be quickly turned on by remote control.
The ESR has done it again. The injured worker can now be reached and rescued.
This is a vision of the future that's not too far away. ESR, you're incredible. In a moment, we'll visit a toy store that's allegedly haunted. A psychic will hold a seance there and photograph the ghost.
We also have an unusual motorcycle gang. They'll ride together in a grueling desert race.
This isn't a parking lot. It's a setting for a flipping, flying, flaming fender bender.
Several weeks ago, we did a ghost story that really got to us, so we decided to look into it further.
This seemingly normal toy store is a popular place for local kids. There are those who claim that it's a favorite haunt of a very playful ghost. It's at night, after closing time, when the toy store becomes most haunted.
Could a ghost be lurking here in this irresistible playground? A psychic named Sylvia Brown believes she made contact with the ghost.
As he walked down the hall towards me, he kept saying, have mercy on me, Beth. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. There were a lot of professional camera people here, and they actually caught the person on film. And this was in the presence of, maybe 15, 16 people that knew that there was no one walking down that aisle at that particular time. So it was validated not only by the camera people, but by the people that were there.
The toy store is located on the exact spot where this house once stood. It was built in the late 1800s by a prosperous settler named Martin Murphy. It was easy to guess that Murphy might be the ghost, but Sylvia Brown had a psychic sense of another name.
I kept picking up this Yanni Johnson or Johnny Johnston.
Further research revealed that a local circuit preacher sometimes lived on the Murphy farm. His name was John Johnson, and he had fallen in love with Martin Murphy's daughter, Elizabeth.
Johnson often worked on the farm to pay for his room and board. Unfortunately, Elizabeth paid little attention to him. One day while chopping wood, Johnson badly slashed his leg. We simulated the moment when, unable to move or get help, he bled to death.
Bleeding to death is, I've talked to doctors that I do work with, and that's really not that painful. It's sort of a slow tiredness. So he probably doesn't even realize he is dead.
We have several letters on file from medical doctors and professors attesting to Sylvia Brown's psychic ability.
Both Sylvia and the toy store employees were convinced a ghost was there. We felt we had to investigate further. We hired a professional photographer who knew nothing about our story. Then we held our own incredible seance.
On the night of August 5th, the seance took place. The seance members gathered in an aisle. Bill Tidwell of Alpha Photo in Oakland was in charge of photography.
Both of these cameras are 35mm single-lens reflex cameras. One of them set up with black and white infrared film. The other one's set up with a very high-speed black and white film that takes pictures almost in complete darkness.
Now Sylvia makes contact with the ghost.
Okay, all right. I really feel him now. I think he's in the back. Yeah, he's beginning to walk. Yeah, now he's coming very, very quickly. Just moving along to the right, turning his head now towards me. Johnny, or Yanni, come towards me this way a little bit. He's got his hands in his pockets. He's looking down at his feet. Yeah, if you want to. He says if he kneels down, would it be easier for me to see him? Yes, why don't you? Do you see Beth amongst any of the people? Not now? You thought she came in with us? Okay. No, I don't know of any Beth in the group. You're thinking of Beth Murphy, the girl you loved. John, you can find Beth if you just go on to the other side. You really are caught in a time framework. No, all right, if you don't want to talk. No, I won't say anything if you don't want to talk about it. It was nice of you to come to see us. I will come back again. Take care of yourself. May you find peace, Johnny. Yeah, he's going around the corner. That's very sad.
These photographs were taken during the time that Sylvia Brown is talking to the ghost of John Johnson.
Bill Tidwell holds a science degree in photography and also teaches photography.
The photograph in this proof sheet was taken with infrared film. At the same time, the photograph on this proof sheet was taken with high-speed film. The incredible thing is that the enlarged infrared photograph shows a shadowy figure standing at the back of the picture that does not show up in the photographs taken with high-speed film. My assistant and I do not remember anyone standing in this position while Sylvia was talking to the ghost of John Johnson, and we cannot explain why a figure that appears in an infrared photograph does not appear in a photograph taken at virtually the same instant with high-speed film.
These are the photographs taken that night.
Now remember, Sylvia had no way of knowing what pictures the camera was taking. These two pictures were taken less than a second apart. In the first one, the aisle is empty. Then suddenly a figure appears in the second.
Now, you heard the photographer say he couldn't explain the pictures, but this ghost story is one to think about.
What has 2 hands, 4 eyes, 6 legs, and can hit speeds up to 90 miles an hour?
Give up? Well, you'll find out in this story of a man and his dog and their motorcycle.
I've been racing motorcycles for over 15 years. I've always had a co-driver or a co-rider. He's raced with me in many, many races. We raced over 400 races together. The only difference in the partner I raced with and the average partner is my partner sat right here on this tank. That was old Kooky. He was the first dog that ever raced a motorcycle. We generally always finished in the top 10% of our class. We won a few of our classes. I raced for over 10 years with him.
Kooky retired from active racing in 1975, but he had a son named KJ for a Kooky Jr. who continued in his tradition.
KJ's career was cut rather short. I had him 2.5 years. We raced about 50 races together. And then one 4th of July in the desert, someone was shooting firecrackers, and he ran away from camp. I can't do it. I just can't talk about KJ. He was so much a part of my life. I searched for him for 20 days. We found him on the 20th day, but he got run over by a truck. So, it was about the end for me, I thought. But at 13 years old, the old guy produced me another son, Little Coo. I really didn't think Little Coo would ever race. I just wanted a son out of Kooky. But when he got a little older, I started doing a little trail riding with him. The little sucker started riding good. We started racing together, like the old days.
Other racers know them well and respect them.
Is he a serious competitor, do you think?
Oh, yeah. He goes as good with the dog than he does without the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a fine competitor. I see the rear end of the dog more than I see the front.
Dog knows more than John does. Dog has sense enough to get off occasionally.
Kooky's all set to go.
He definitely knows when it's race time. He gets a little nervous on the starting line, but all racers do. As soon as they drop the banner and we're on our way, well, he's a true racer. And all the nervousness goes away, and he hangs on great.
They're off.
This race today will be a 14-mile course, approximately 7 miles of asphalt, approximately 7 miles of open desert and rough terrain.
It seems impossible that Kooky could stay on the bike over roads like this, but incredibly, he does.
On a rough terrain, he's ridden enough in enough races that he reads the terrain pretty good. And when he sees rough stuff coming up, he kind of pushes his body back into me. But if I'm really in trouble, I can't help him. It's up to him. And I have the carpet on my tank that he can hold on to, dig his claws into. He's got lots of stamina. He doesn't seem to get tired. We raced a 4.5-hour race in Virginia City in May, and at the end of 4.5 hours of hard racing, he was in great shape. The 175 class at the Dirt Diggers Grand Prix last year, we won the class. And we have got some thirds and fourths, but right now, we're riding mostly for fun. We've had our share of trophies. We just want to ride and enjoy ourselves. I raced with Old Kooky approximately 10 years. Raced with KJ about 2 years. Now I've been racing with Little Kooky about 2 years. I don't think it'll ever be done again. I think they'll be the last of the racing dogs in the desert. And if Little Kooky races as long as his father, that gives him about 8 more years. And I think that'll be about all that I can handle.
In case you think physics is dull, we found a man in Texas who will change your mind. He doesn't just study theories of physics, he puts his life on the line to test them.
Dr. John Hubitz is a professor of physics at the College of the Mainland in Texas City, Texas.
Leonard W. Steinbach is a science teacher, a stuntman, and a former student of Dr. Hubitz. He's going to risk his life to prove a scientific point.
I've been asked to make a few comments on this next stunt that you're about to see, give a little bit of the physics behind the stunt. Basically, we'll have 4 cars standing on their ends. Our stuntman will come along, strike the car at the bottom. The car will flip over, and he will continue on striking 4 automobiles, each one being knocked over, and the ultimate goal, see to it that he gets to the other side before all 4 fall on him.
The cars are carefully set on end with a large commercial tow truck. Steinbach watches carefully. The positioning is crucial.
Wooden braces will keep the cars from accidentally falling forward. The cars are now in place. If they're not positioned exactly right, it will mean disaster.
When we come back, we'll see the fiery conclusion to this incredibly dangerous experiment.
Hi, my name is L.W. Steinbach, and the stunt that we're going to do is we're going to drive a car down this track and drive into, through, and under each of these 4 cars while they're ablaze. As we strike each car, we'll be applying several laws of Newton. The greater mass being at the top will strike the first car at about 60 miles per hour to make sure that we have enough time to get into and through the car before the laws of gravity take over and pull the car down. By the time the first car reaches the level at which I've passed, I should be striking the second car and almost through it.
If in fact our calculations are correct, in the time that it takes for the first car to fall, our driver will have struck the second car and will be just about ready to hit the third car.
When we hit the third car, we should be doing about 46 to 48 miles per hour. And again, this is sufficient speed so that the bulk of the mass, being at the top, will move out of the way and allow us to pass through and under the car before we make contact with the 4th and final car.
37.
In case there is a mishap, an ambulance crew stands by. Firemen are ready to quickly pry open a mangled car. This will be the most dangerous stunt that L.W. Steinbach has ever attempted.
The moment of truth is now only seconds away. Steinbach is ready, and he's off. He accelerates the car to speed, and here he goes. At the last second, he ducks. 1, 2, 3, 4. He made it! He's flipped 4 flaming cars. Behind him is a burning mess that looks much better through his rear view mirror.
Now that's what I call a smashing performance. Let's watch that again in slow motion.
When seen from a safe distance, the stunt is no less horrifying. L.W. Steinbach, that was incredible.
At some time or another, most professional athletes fall into a slump. For some unknown reason, they just stop performing.
A slump can last for a few days or sometimes even years. And until recently, the only solution was time and patience.
There now may be a cure. It involves a mind programming technique that has already helped numerous athletes.
Mitchell Page, designated hitter for the Oakland A's, is up to bat. He's up to bat again. Another home run. It's easy to see why Mitchell was considered one of the top young players in the league.
At that time, I really had a good mind to do whatever I thought I could do. I didn't think I was going to hit 2 home runs that night, but I knew I was going to swing it back real well, hit the ball real hard, and there's no way that I was going to make myself look bad because I was in control of my game.
In 1979, Mitchell Page fell into a terrible batting slump. No matter how hard he tried, his performance would not improve. Finally, Page sought help from a company called Professional Development Associates in San Leandro, California. It offered hope in the form of a unique new training technique.
Let's see what you have there, Nash. Well, I've been looking at
The technique is called muscle memory training. It was developed by Steve DeVore and his brother, Dr. Gregory DeVore.
What is muscle memory programming? It's a concept which we utilize the abilities of an athlete and try and enhance what he's already developed. Let's look, for example, at a professional baseball player such as Mitchell Page. Mitchell, who was an outstanding baseball player, had all the ability to hit home runs, to play baseball in a way that was admired by many of his colleagues. And yet, when he came to us, he had one problem. He could not concentrate. He could not relax. He could not draw from within the things that were required for him to consistently perform in a way that he felt he could.
First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the colors and use those colors as a reference for our relaxation. You can just look at the screen over there, and I'll flash the colors on the screen.
The colors are part of a relaxation technique. Mitchell also learns to associate them with specific muscles in his body.
Blue and purple.
Steve teaches Mitchell how to relax. He then associates that with the color.
Go ahead.
Mitchell goes on the ball field, thinks of a color, and automatically his muscle groups relax.
Keep the tension there. Now go ahead and very, very quickly release it. Okay, Mitch, I'd like to have you do is key into the ball, the moving ball up there, and especially key into the seams of the ball.
We taught him through the use of videotape that he could see himself doing what he did best time after time again. So it was programmed into his memory that, again, by using color coding, he was able to recall the feeling, what it was like to hit that home run.
What I'd like to have you do is to hear the sound of the ball hitting the sweet spot of the bat. It's associated with this picture. Recall that from memory. Even the sound of the crowd that night. As you're watching this ball sail and yourself running, feel the emotion. The intensity of the emotion is associated with that.
Most coaches, what they will do, they will focus on the negative aspects.
Just absorb.
We're focusing on what they do correctly, and then through a process of relaxation, of concentration, and showing them on screen what they do well, we allow them to code in to their memory the perfect thing they do, that they can then recall that and use it when they're performing.
Mitchell Page underwent 10 sessions of muscle memory training. The results were remarkable. His performance on the field was enormously improved.
The last 79 and 80 have been a very tough year for me, really. Up to the time I picked up a muscle memory program that I was unable to concentrate, but afterwards I was able to concentrate and bear down and had 11 home runs out of the last 30 games with a batting average about .334.
That's what I'm about next year.
Coincidences have happened to all of us, but we've run across one that almost defies belief.
It's about a personal check that not only bounced, it boomeranged.
What you're about to see is a reenactment of a true story. It took place in Fresno, California.
Hi, how are you doing? Did we interest you in some magazine subscription?
Oh, good morning, folks. No, I don't really need any magazines. Oh, good morning, girl. Hey, thanks a lot.
Along with the other mail, a postman delivers a box of checks to this apartment. The box is a little too big to fit through the mail slot, and it's stolen by 2 door-to-door salespeople. Now that's only the beginning of the story.
The person who lives behind that door is Debbie Baroni, and she's here with us today. Welcome, Debbie. Debbie, did you have any idea that your checks had been stolen that day?
No, I had no idea they were delivered and that they were stolen.
You weren't at home at the time?
No, I was at work.
This branch of the Bank of America is where Deborah Baroni works. It's a little after 10 a.m. on March 29th, 1979.
The bank is crowded and busy, and today there are 7 tellers on duty. Deborah Baroni is one of them.
At a little before 11 a.m., a car arrives in the bank's parking lot.
There are more than 50 other banks in the area, but for some reason, this one has been chosen as the place to cash a check.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Moore. Have a good day.
Of the 7 tellers' windows that are open, the man picks Deborah Baroni's.
How are you? I think you should sign the check, please.
It's a normal transaction that takes place hundreds of times a day, but this time, there's a twist.
Thank you.
The check is Deborah's, but she didn't write it.
I'll be right back.
Deborah thinks quickly and doesn't betray her surprise. The customer waits. The head teller keeps Deborah in the back office, hoping the customer won't leave.
Within moments, the bank's manager is there to examine the check.
We have a gentleman here with a forged check. Yes, he is here.
Deborah goes to a file and waits while the manager tries to stall.
Regular, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
How do you do, sir?
Fine.
May I see some identification, please?
Sure you can.
The man's companion outside is getting nervous.
Meanwhile, the manager continues to stall. It's been a tense 30 minutes since the man came in.
Impatient and concerned, the woman now enters the bank to survey the situation.
What's taking so long?
I don't know what's the problem.
I'm sorry, but the signature on the check is slightly irregular, and we do have to check it out and make sure that everything's okay before we can release the money on this check.
Fresno County sheriffs move calmly into the bank.
Now the sheriffs move in.
Excuse me, sir. Can I talk to you a minute? Yes. What is your name?
John Smythe.
Mr. Smythe? Yes. Could I see the ID and check, please? Okay, Mr. Smythe, do you know who the owner of this check is?
Yes, I do.
Who is it?
Deborah Baroni.
Okay. I'm going to need to talk to you further, Mr. Smythe, about this check. Okay, there seems to be some sort of problem here. Do you mind stepping over here so we can talk about it further?
Sure.
Okay, no problem.
The couple is arrested and charged with suspicion of forgery and possession of stolen property.
Justice quietly found its way by incredible coincidence.
Is it possible to see without an eye? Next, we'll meet a man who claims he can, and he'll try to prove it.
We received mixed reactions to our story about Ronald Coyne, the man who claimed he could see through his artificial eye. Let's watch a brief recap of that story.
I want you to give a great big Arkansas welcome to Ronald Coyne.
Almost 30 years ago, be 30 years, I believe, in August, a very unusual miracle happened in my life when I was only a 7-year-old child. Playing out in the street, picked up a piece of baling wire and began to swing it around like children will do, and I got it caught in my right eyeball. It scared me, and I jerked the wire out, and when I did, the fluid drained right out in my hand, just like that, and there's nothing I could do about it. And I never saw again through my right eyeball. I want you to look and see that there's nothing in here that looks like an eyeball.
Ronald Coyne's good eye is completely covered with a folded handkerchief and secured with masking tape. Members of the congregation have volunteered to do this. Now, Ronald Coyne performs the incredible. He reads anything that's handed to him.
So Arkansas driver's license number 0560 5687. Medford, William Medford, 154 Nottoway or something like that, West Helena, Arkansas. Is that right? That's right.
People wrote in to tell us that they were absolutely amazed at what they had seen, and then there were the doubters. Right, John?
Right, friend. Glenn Falkenstein is a mentalist, and he was not impressed. Glenn, before we start this demonstration, tell me, you can see with both of your eyes?
Yes, 20/20 vision in both eyes.
Now, you're going to do something that's very similar to that, to what Ron LeCoyne did, right?
I think so. At least I'll try.
All right. How are you going to do it?
All right. Let me blindfold myself. I use 2 half-dollars, 8 pieces of 2-inch adhesive tape, and a steel mask. You examine those half-dollars, and Kathy Lee, would you hand me some tapes that I've pre-torn? Good. There are 8 pieces of 2-inch adhesive tape, and did you find any holes, John, in the half-dollars?
These are 2 half-dollars, probably not worth what they were 10 years ago.
Okay. The audience will try this test. You can very lightly put your finger over your closed eye. You'll find it difficult, if not impossible, to open those eyes. The half-dollars will be embedded now in the sockets of my eyes. All right. And 1 more half-dollar, please, John. And I'd like you to stay very close to me. 1 more piece of tape, please. Thank you, Kathy Lee. I'd like you to I'll put this half-dollar and embed that in the socket of the other eye. All right? The reason I ask you to stand close is that you represent the audience, so you make sure I do exactly as I say. 1 more piece of tape, please. Thank you. We'll put this piece of tape over the other 2. Piece of tape now for the right side. Thank you. Ooh, this is sticky. And another piece of tape for the left eye.
I bent it a little bit.
It's all right. Okay, we'll put this over the left side. Now let me just press the tapes down, closing off all possible vision. Okay, a piece of tape now for the right side. Thank you. And
I'm just trying to help.
And another piece for the left. Good. Now there should be a long, thin piece of tape. Do you see that last little thin piece of tape? Good. May I have that last little piece, please? This piece of tape I always put over my nose. That's for you, John, because you think I see through it. Okay, let me just place this over here. And now, if you will, just press the tapes down. Make